Because one of the things I asked him is, I said, I get it, but I don't get it. The children, you got to. I have such a problem with this. You got to explain this one to me. And he said, well, first of all, you're looking at it the wrong way. I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, they don't define children the way you do. They don't define the world the way you do. The choices that you face are not their choices, right? They look at it completely differently. And I said, well, okay, so how do they look at it? And he said, for them, everything is defined by their one fundamental, all-consuming purpose. I said, which is what? He said, to defeat God. Right? Because this is the moment. I mean, for them, it's about the real God, the true gods are them and
Yeah.
Satan, there,
Mm.
right? And so he said,
Definitely right.
children are children are the closest thing on earth to God
Mm.
because we are created in the image of God. And as you know, from the moment we're created, we haven't had time to be corrupted and to stray.
Mm.
So for them, the younger you are, the closer you are to God, the more pain they can inflict on God. So the more you can make a baby or a small child suffer, the greater your victory over God. And that is the only consideration for them. Outside of that doesn't exist.
We were told while we were down there that you better not dig too deep. This was on the Dominican Republic. They said because every single one of these leads to Washington D.C. That's what we were told down there. And they said you think it's about brothels and children, adults wanting to have sexual relations with children. Like there's way worse things down here going on that you can't even. They actually said what the Dominican Republic is known for, which, by the way, think how close that is to Epstein Island. I mean, it's all right down there. They said what they specialize is in snuff camps. I don't even like talking about it because I don't. But so the human trafficking thing is bigger than what people can even realize, and what most of Pollyanna Christians won't even look at. They won't even consider it. And I'm like, your king sees it all day long. How dare you stick your head in the sand to the reality of the horrors that are going on in the world around you, all over the place, in the house next door to you. How dare you, Pollyanna Christian? Your king's looking at it all day long, and he is so undone by it that he did something about it. He came and died so that somebody might have hope. That kid might have hope, that the abuser might have hope, that the trafficker might have hope, that the parent that gave their kid over to it for money might have, that somebody would have the hope of redemption. And you're going to shield your eyes from it? Are you kidding me? So to say this isn't going on is insane, right? And the only people who would say that this is going on or is being exaggerated is because they're the purchasers of these children. So let's come full circle. Why is that relevant? Well, I mean, obviously it's relevant for these children, for these people, for these adults. I don't care who they are. It's traumas that you can't even fathom, and it's usually ritualistic. That's what people don't understand. This isn't just about pleasure. It is far beyond pleasure when you're operating at that level. Actually, pleasure is way down the totem pole. It's about power. It's about supernatural spiritual power. It's about tearing of veils. It's about fracturing. It's about fracturing spirits, fracturing souls. It's about rebuilding. It's about being God-like, and your ability to even create DID, dissociated identity disorder, and people through SRA, satanic ritualistic abuse, and all this. It's the adrenochrome, all these other things that a lot of people who probably follow your work are familiar with. But it comes full circle to Mystery Babylon. It says, and they trafficked in the souls of men. It's a very unique qualifier about mystery. Everybody wants to go, oh, it'll be a revived Babylon in Iraq. Yeah, no, I was literally in Iraq, in the ancient city of Babylon, touched the stones that still say Nebuchadnezzar on them, like stood at the gate of Ishtar, like took Al-Hila, Iraq, which is where Saddam was unearthing archaeologically all the ancient artifacts of Mesopotamia and Babylon. Been there. Like, it's not a revived Iraq. It's not a Holy Rome. It's not a Vatican. Most people are like, oh, okay, Mystery Babylon's the Vatican. I'm like, yeah, it's not the Vatican. The Vatican is wicked beyond comprehension. It's the United States of America. You just don't want to know what's going on. You don't want to know why they call it District of Columbia. You don't want to know why most of the presidents graduate from Columbia University. You don't want to know what goes on in the Freemasonic stuff or the Illuminati stuff or the whatever. You don't want to know what's going on with the raising of Osiris, which I know you and Justin and Wes have talked about that in great detail. You don't want to know about the ceremonies. You don't want to know about Bohemian Grove. You don't want to know why it's called the City of Angels. Which angels? Nobody asked that. And you don't want to know in what God they trust. That's on the back of every one of your talismans. Dollar bills in your pocket. You don't want to know that. And it's founded on the souls of men. More importantly, the souls of children is what it's founded upon. So the global sex trafficking, it's not even, a pandemic doesn't even, like, there's no word to adequately describe it. It is that deep. It's that big now. And it's because the advent of technology, of the internet, really, has just exploded it. So now it's the searing of the mind and then making the whole world drunk with their immorality. Who does the porn? Who does the video? Who does the whatever? Where are all the tech companies out of? Where are all the pharmaceutical companies at? Who's consuming 90% of all pharmaceuticals on the face of the earth? Who's producing 90% of the pharmaceuticals for all the country? Who's doing it all? Who is doing these things? Where's Disney out of? Where's Hollywood out of? Where's this out of? Like, it's all out of Mystery Babylon, the United States of America. And like, they show you in very plain English in Washington, District of Columbia, who they serve and what they represent and why they serve it. Who requires LGBT and abortion to receive foreign aid? I think there's 197 countries in the world right now. Don't quote me on that, something like that. I think 185 of them receive aid from the U.S. In order to receive aid from the U.S., this came under the Obama era, you must implement abortion and LGBT to get aid. So when I say they've made the whole world drunk with their immoralities, I'm not kidding. And they traffic in the souls of men. So this human trafficking thing is beyond comprehension. It's not human trafficking, it's child trafficking. And it's every race, it's every nationality, it's boys, it's girls, it's young girls, it's young boys, it's adult women, it's adult men, it's everywhere in between. And these global elite are just seething with them. But guess what? Because I know your viewership. I know you have quite a few subscribers, right? And people that listen. Statistically, 85 to 90%, this is for men and women, of the viewers watching End Times Production are looking at pornography. They're the ones perpetrating the human child sex trafficking globally. Every click, every swipe, every TikTok video, every Instagram, when we do our investigations, Instagram and TikTok are where they traffic from. The girls with the more likes, they look like you think they're a fitness model or they're a yoga pant wearing, whatever, some sexy girl or whatever it is they're looking at. And bros are sitting there on their Instagram following these girls. Those likes show their value on the open market for trafficking, and they're being run by people. They're being run by the intelligence agencies. They're being run by governmental agencies. They're being run by the law enforcement agencies on the southern border and the northern border. They're being run by the port officials and the port authorities. They're being run by the mayors. They're being run by the chiefs of police. They're being run everywhere. It's what they do. And the only reason why it exists is because, I don't even have it, because of these stupid things. That's the reason why kids are being trafficked and adults are being trafficked. So anybody who wants to get their panties in a bunch about child sex trafficking or just human trafficking in general, I'm like, it's on you. It's on you. The Barna Group and Pew Poll show that, 70% of pastors confess to looking at porn once a week. 70% of pastors poll. That's the ones that were willing to confess because it was an anonymous poll. 70%? So what's the real number then? 90? 90%? The guy who's supposed to be hearing from the Lord and leading you spiritually and shepherding? I already said the prayers of a righteous man are powerful and effectual. That guy is supposed to be praying for discernment. No wonder why your sermons are a mile wide and an inch deep. And why nobody's getting freedom, why there's no power. You have the form of godliness, but you deny the power. You deny the power because you're a part of child sex trafficking. Dude, I mean, like, how are we not understanding this, you know? It's insane. Well, and even think about this. The great earthquakes of the end times, earthquakes the likes of which never have been. You know, it talks about, like, there's just never been anything like it. It's because of the child sex trafficking and the abortions, I believe, because the Lord says the earth will disclose the blood shed upon it. It's literally going to vomit. The earth is going to be like, it says all creation is groaning inwardly, longing for the sons of glory to be revealed because it's been subjected to things it shouldn't be because of the disgustingness of humanity. And then God says, like, I'll avenge the blood of my innocents. One day he says, the earth will disclose the blood shed upon it. Jamie's speculation. And I'm like, it's going to vomit. The earth is going to literally, it can't take all, where's the 70 or some say 120 million abortions in the U.S. And then we make that a part of official, you know, foreign policy is to implement abortion and LGBT. Where's that blood go? Where's the blood? Where's the blood from the most innocent of the innocent? It goes into your fresh water supplies. It goes to your water treatment plants. I've heard occultists say that they mock the fact that everybody's drinking it in their own faucets as a part of their lesser magic in their occultic practices. And the earth is soaking it up, and the waterways and the byways and the tributaries are soaking it up, and everything's soaking it up. These Russians and Ukrainians laying on the field of battle, I hate seeing it. The ground is soaking it up. Civil wars, this war, that war, it's soaking it up. And it has a point where it actually vomits. It says the earth will disclose the bloodshed upon it. Just break, it can't take anymore. And so even the child sex trafficking, which is satanic ritualistic abuse, which the pastor is scrolling through pictures, so he's actually supporting satanic ritualistic sacrifice of children, because from our investigations, they have a 2-year lifespan. People don't understand. It's not your porn doesn't end there because that child has a street value. And you think, by the way, you think you're looking at a girl, most guys, they think they're looking at a girl who's in her mid-20s. Guarantee you she's 13. 12 or 13. I guarantee you, because we interview them. And they can make them look however they need to make them look for the videos or for the whatever, right? And they said they have 2 years before they harvest the organs. They have a 2-year lifespan. Because the organs have more value than what they could produce on the different porn sites and stuff like that, or whatever else they're doing with them. But like, people don't understand the lateness of the hour. I don't even know how to talk about it openly because it's so gnarly. I mean, let me put it this way. So people, I don't mind searing their minds with the reality. I've worked with the U.S. Marshals for a little bit. And so I was responsible for prison transports, prison security, you know, exacting search warrants for the different federal agencies and stuff like that. The first case I had to sit in as a marshal was a 6-month-old. And I never looked, and I couldn't stand it, but they had to play hours and hours and hours of the video footage. And just, to this day, that was like 16, 17 years ago, to this day, I hear the noises. So that's what the guy who thinks he's a real man because he drinks Bud Light, right? Or like, because he watches MMA and he plays golf and he's like, yeah, I'm a bro. I'm like, you ain't a bro, dude. You're a chump, right? Like, you think that that's what makes a man is that you play golf and you watch sports, or like you watch MMA? Like, you're a say nothing and do nothing. Oh, and by the way, you're looking at porn. But you're probably on the board of your church. Because you're a high income earner. And so they want you to be on the board of their church to hopefully you can make the church affluent too, like you did in your business in the secular world. This is insane, dude. So again, let's come full circle. The lateness of the hour could never be overstated because of the spirit of the age of the Christians.